So I'm going to go over how you can combine two layers to give your background a little texture. You want it subtle, or you can change that texture background into a border, and then how you can kind of blend another image. So basically, I have my document open. It is 1280 pixels by 720 height. And as you see, the background layer is white with a lock. You just leave it like that. And then I made a new layer down here with the folded up piece of paper, and I colored my background in just using the paint bucket. Now I have gone to Morgue Files and downloaded several textures, one of which is the rock texture. And I'm going to bring it up into my document. So you see it's very large, and to make it smaller you have to be able to see the edges. So Command minus on a Mac, and then Command T brings the transformation box up, and I'm going to use Shift just to keep the proportions normal. Like I said, because this is a texture, it's not as important. Yeah, I want to have the rocks in for the most part, so I'm going to leave it like that. You can choose wherever you want it. And it might go with your design somehow too, depending on how much it shows through. Then I press Return or Enter to apply that transformation, and I'm going to zoom back out, Command plus. Over here you have the blending mode in your layers window, and right now it's on normal. So you can experiment with these. I like overlay, so I'm just going to use overlay for now. But all that does is make the rocks look green. So in order to have this be a more subtle texture, I'm going to bring the opacity down. So opacity is lack of see-through. It's the opposite of transparent. So if something is totally opaque, you can't see through it. So I just bring it down a little. And that's important to know because they will ask that on your quizzes. So I bring it down to where I want it, and yep, I want to see it, but I don't really want to have it up front and center. And that's all you need to do to have a textured background. Now, if I want to make this a border, I would use the rectangular marquee. Again, your tools might look like this, or they might look like that. If this is the elliptical marquee, you just press, hold, and change it to a rectangle, unless for some reason you want a circle or an oval in there. And then I'm going to eyeball it, but you would want it to be very even. And I will show you how to do that on a later tutorial. Once I have it, and I have this layer, I'm going to label it that this is the texture layer. And then I click so that I'm back in the canvas, and I just press the delete. And now I have a very subtle background. I'm going to do Command D to deselect. Because this is being used now as a border, I might want to up the opacity to whatever your choice is. If you wanted to have it a different color, you could also just go back to normal, and if I bring the opacity all the way up, it'll just be those rocks. So this is all just for your aesthetic choice, whatever you think looks better. And then we'll do our peer review, and other people can tell you what they think. And then you decide, because it's your piece. So now I have the border, and I'm going to add the person. Again, I understand that you might have to use some copyrighted images, and for this project, just because there are some that might be crucial to making it how you want it, it's okay. but I don't want you to just add blocks. So I'm going to use Alice Walker again, and I am going to drag her in. You never want to make something larger, but you can always make something smaller. So right now, I think she's really a pretty good size for this. Like, she's kind of looking up. I might want to make her a little smaller. So I would do Command T, Shift, only use the corners so she doesn't get distorted. And maybe I want her there so that she's looking up and then the words come here. I'm not sure. I think I actually like her larger. So I'm just going to leave her larger for our purposes. So if I just did right now with her overlay, it's still a box and she just turns green. I'm going to bring her back to normal. And like we did yesterday, we did it with two tools. We did it with the lasso tool, and then we cleaned it up with the eraser tool. I want you to not get in the habit of using the eraser tool to get rid of backgrounds, because it's nice to soften up edges and clean things up, but it's not like the best choice for a lot of things. So we'll just do it this way. And I am going to make her so she's actually perfectly lined up with the there we go. Now sometimes you'll notice that things you can't make them go exactly where you want. I want to review. I have Snap on. Snap should snap things to another guide. On your version, it will work much better. Because mine is older, it's a little clunkier. So I just have to kind of make do. And then I'm going to take the regular lasso. I have just a random amount of feathers. I picked 18. And I'm going to go around her. If I wanted her cut out or to get rid of this entire black, I could do that. In that case, I would use the polygonal lasso, which is, you can get a much better and more precise cut. And then I'm going to just delete. And then now I have those edges. Command D to deselect, so I can now clean it up with the eraser tool. I like to use a large eraser with soft and then just go farther out to clean up the edges. Again, this effect is kind of like a shadow, and I think it looks nice. So that is that. Now again, if you want her to be more subtle, remember the opacity lowers the amount of saturation of the image, or the lack. Here, I'm going to make her a little transparent, and that's a nice, if you wanted a softer look, if you like it nice and vibrant, you can keep it right there. And that is it. Be sure you label her layer. So this is Alice Walker. And I'm going to just make sure it's saved, save as, just to check where it's going. And Cyborg Liz, and it's going to pictures. I want it to actually go to, I want to make a new folder for my Cyborg, and I'll keep everything that has to do with that in here. So I create it and save.